afternoon, good evening, everybody, including the puppies in the room. Thank you for tuning into the Gaming Circle podcast, the podcast that took a week off because my preschooler decided to bring home cooties, and as such, as you can tell, I'm still on the recoup. I'm about 75%, but I appreciate y'all joining. I appreciate you coming here and having these conversations with us. I missed a week. I missed it. You know, I really missed it. I as you can see, I was in a lot of different chat rooms during the week that I missed, but I'm back here trying to do this again. And I'm doing this, as usual, with my brother from another mother, the man that some consider my evil twin, the Malcolm to my Martin. And if you've been following the Twitter spaces, he is both the good Xbot, or the savior of Xbox, depending on your perspective. Mr.
I'm apparently one of the good ones.
You're one of the good ones, which is like death by 1,000 cuts, in my opinion.
Which is totally not an insult at all.
At all.
No microaggressions there.
Not at all. You know, yeah, we hate them, but he's one of the good ones. So how you doing, bro?
I wonder if they'll let me apply for a job at their company or marry their daughters. But anyway.
Hey, they'll let you be one of the henchmen in the Pegasus Nation. Hey, how about that?
There you go. We got A. Rodimus here. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us. I'm good, man. I'm just playing a lot of Cana, what you got on the screen there, and the Halo Infinite flight, which I actually had some issues with until I realized either I was stupid or there was a bug. Which we will get into that in a little bit whenever you want to talk about the Halo Infinite flighting. Man, just been playing a lot of games. We didn't get to talk about this last week, but since I finished Psychonauts 2, great game,
speak on that. I want to keep going on that game.
Deserves the 90 that it got, I think. It felt a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. But each sort of, I don't even really know if I want to call them levels, because it's not like a normal linear sort of progression. You can kind of do things in the order you want. I guess that's not new, right? Like, a lot, Mario's been doing that for quite some time, but I do think it was so inventive in the way that they tackled like each level is going into a brain. And I had only briefly played the original Psychonauts when it came out, because I didn't really care for the art style back then. And I don't know that I could appreciate what they were doing. But Grown Man Everborn could pick up what they were putting down. So had a lot of fun with that. Took quite a long time. Still does not beat out Death's Door as my favorite game of the year.
I agree.
So there's that. But when I finished it, I moved on to, because I am terrible, Sonic Colors.
Sonic Colors. Oh yeah,
Sonic Colors.
You were saying you started that. So how far into Sonic Colors are you? Is it now in your Game of the Year categories? Come on.
It is not in the Game of the last 10-year category. It's terrible.
Not in the Game of Sonic's year.
Exactly. It's not even in the best. You know what it is? Because wait, hold on. We got Slow-Mo here.
Yeah, I see him in here. He's
Slow-Mo.
here for slander,
I'm coming for you. I have words for you, Slow-Mo.
He's here for slander. Let's do this.
If you play Sonic Colors on a PlayStation or an Xbox, do you know that the cutscenes, I think, are still in like 720p, which is what they were on the Switch? It's terrible. They didn't even try.
So they basically made the game for the Switch and then ported it to the consoles and didn't bother up-resing. That's great.
It is just not a good game. Okay, so has there ever been a good 3D Sonic game? I'm going to say yes, Sonic Adventures. Maybe that's because where it lives in my memory. But what do you say, sir?
No, I completely agree. Not by today's standards, but by the time it came out, Sonic Adventures is the only one.
It was a great transition. I was like, wow, Mario made the successful transition to 3D, and then Sonic did it there, but that was in the great day of the Dreamcast. Now, so immediately,
if it were to be a re-release, if they did a re-release, remake, remaster today of Sonic Adventures, would you buy it and play it?
Yes, I would, but that is no indication of whether I think it would be good. I just buy Sonic games because I grew up as a Sega kid.
You're indoctrinated. I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. I buy them and I hate play them.
But that's indoctrination. You can't help yourself. You're indoctrinated. Yes. I understand. Continue.
All right, but I'm just saying I'm not making excuses for them. Sure, I know they are terrible.
At least
they are Sonic, so I feel obligated. This is why I want someone. Sega has been whoring out the Sonic IP since
on a Saturday morning.
Whoring out the Sonic IP. This is true. Boy. I dare anyone to disagree with me. This is why.
So real quick, since Slow-Mo was here, and don't lose your thought. Since Slow-Mo was here, I have to make mention of this. This is the only podcast where you learn that Pokemon are slaves and Sonic is a whore. Continue.
He is. And Sega's the pimp. But the thing is this: Sonic is one of the most recognizable IPs in the world. Sold over
makes a lot of money,
149 million units in its lifetime. Right? This is across all the games, but so again,
it's an IP that's worth continuing, basically. Yeah.
It is worth treating with some respect.
With respect.
So this is why I would like for one day to see whether, I don't care if it's Sega. I don't care if it's Sony. I don't care if it's Microsoft. I don't care if it's Nintendo. I just want someone to buy Sega so that they can treat Sonic with some respect.
The man that got them horns, man. The slander's early. It's good and it's great. I'm here for it.
So anyway, after playing like 3 levels of that, I was like, I can't take this anymore. So I don't know if you remember a while back when I wasn't sold by the Scarlet Nexus demo.
Yeah.
But a lot of people told me.
Continue.
A lot of people told me try out the full game, and I was like, nah, because that demo wasn't good. But I heard it got better. But then it went on sale for $30, and I was like, okay, I will try this.
I bit a piece of that apple as well. Continue, yes.
So I was like, all right, I'll try it. But then it was it was backlog status, which meant I was never going to play it. Mm-hmm. It's like putting on something in your queue on Netflix. You're never going to watch that shit.
Yep.
But anyway.
I actually did, but continue. Yes, I did go into the backlog. That's another thing.
Right. Yeah. But now, so then I started that, and I was like, this is pretty interesting. And they have an anime tie-in last week or the week before, maybe the week before. Okay. Cool. But then I said, you know what? Because of my lack of attention span, and maybe the game didn't grab me the way I wanted to, I heard everybody talking about Tales of Arise, so I bought that, and I started that. Which is the only thing I don't like about Tales of Arise is that you have to jump into another mode to do a fight. So it's not like turn-based, but you know how you when you're in a turn-based RPG, it kind of switches over to the battle mode.
Yep,
this does that, and I just feel like it's unnecessary.
JRPG. Yep.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy.
But I just feel like if you wanted to do that, just make it all action. But anyway, so the opening, it takes a little while to start, like an hour before you're actually kind of playing almost. But the intro to the story has me, very interesting. You can easily picture it as an anime. Yeah. So that took me away from Scarlet Nexus, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna play this thing.
Salute
Gerald Mack, what's happening? What's happening? So then, this game that you have on screen came out. So I dropped all 3 of those games to go and play this.
Yes, right.
And I was really enjoying this until the Halo Flight came out. And now I'm playing the Halo Flight.
Yeah. I feel you, bro. I feel you.
So
I have a similar story.
And speaking of the Halo Flight, and since we have Slow-Mo here, I just would like to point out, and this is because I'm petty, but all of those people that said they didn't need an Xbox Series X because they have a beast PC, who are crying about the performance on Halo.
Yep.
I'd just like to say hi. How you guys doing? But other than that, I hope that works out for you.
Oh, by the way, did you catch that when you load up Halo, the new multiplayer, it defaults to 30 frames per second until you go in and change it?
Interesting.
It defaults
30 frames or 60? Are you
30.
playing on the Series S?
I'm playing on the Series X on my OLED last night, and I'm in the
How can you tell that it defaults to 30?
Because the LG CX is really on point. When you drop to 30, you can feel the difference. It's all you can feel it, like really feel it. I was in the shooting range, and I'm panning around. I'm like, this doesn't feel right. And I go into the settings. It's set to quality, which means 30 frames per second.
I thought quality in Halo was 60 frames a second.
Depends on which part that you're playing, right? Much like how Destiny has done it, where when you're PvP, you can go all the way to 120, but in other modes it changes. And I could be wrong, in that specific gun in the arena mode, not arena, in the gun range mode, right? My quality mode was definitely 30 frames per second. I could feel it.
I don't know. Maybe you've been spoiled by 120 frames.
No, it was 60 after I changed it from quality to performance.
How do you know it wasn't 120?
I know because you can also tell. There's a hidden button on the LG CX. You press it multiple times and it shows you the frame rate output. It's a weird calculation that does 5.5, and you have to calculate it. But it will show you, hey, I'm running at 60. I'm running at 120. But yeah, it was running at 120 at 60 after I put it into performance. Pixel Big G's
hold on a minute, Slow-Mo. You know why I'm not hitting up 343? Because I'm not playing on the PC, and I didn't talk all of this shit about how PC is better and why would you need an Xbox? That's why I'm not hitting up 343, sir.
Here we go. Why did he do that?
Oh yes, he did.
Oh, he did. He complained that why would you need an Xbox? Okay, understood. That's fine.
All right. So he says because you can tell what 120 looks like and feels like. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't doubt that.
No, there is definitely a drastic difference between 60 and 120. I'm telling you, what they had there was 30 to 60.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I mean, remember, we're talking beta code. We're talking not unreleased code. Lots of things have changed. Even between the last time we played and now, I see certain things that were broken are now fixed. Certain things that were fixed are now not there. So it could just still be a placeholder. We're not sure. So there you go. Shut your fraud ass up. Man, the slander is like so high.
This is what he came here for. Don't worry, I have more.
Oh my goodness.
All right, so what have you been playing, sir?
Bro, like similarly to you, my journey started. Where did it start? My journey actually started on Deathloop.
Okay.
It started on Deathloop.
I have not been sold by any of the trailers for that game.
Okay.
So right now I'm either waiting for a sale, or if I don't get up to it.
Yeah. What I will tell you is this. I can see, although I don't necessarily agree with and it's the greatest game ever made, I can see why people are giving it the high accolades that it's getting. I can see it. Because it's the culmination of all of Arcane's hardest work and all of their brightest ideas, all shaved. Because every time they've made a game, people complain that, this is so great, but then there's this thing that either didn't work for them or that thing that didn't work for them. It looks like they've shaven all the corners off and really, really made it shine.
Sorry, Slow-Mo. I can't hear you over my buttery smooth frame rates on the Series X. I apologize.
Am I gonna Slow-Mo? Do you want to come on, sir? Do you want to have this conversation in person, sir? You are more than welcome. If you say so, I will drop the link for you to enter
Please do it.
Battle for real. It's up to you.
I beg you, sir.
We're not gonna do this podcast.
This is gonna turn into a Spaces.
Well, yeah, we're not going there.
Spaces level slander.
We're not going there right now, all right? So it's okay. It's okay. So anyway, so yeah, there you go.
See, Pixelbit G says okay, but Pixel, does that report 60 on performance mode or quality mode?
Bro, it depends on which one you set it to. It'll change when you change your setting.
No, I understand that. He's saying LG reports 60 at what?
At 60, meaning there's one.
No,
setting
and
60.
what?
Oh, okay. So Pixel, if you are able to do it right now, because I don't have my machine in front of me and I can't switch it right now. Switch between quality and performance and give us the metrics on it, because I think we're talking stuck on quality. Okay, so it's on quality and it's 60, or it's on quality and it's 30, because I'm telling you the gun range, that quality was 30, 100%.
Could it just be?
I have not played 60. I have not played 120 enough for it to be like, oh yeah, now it feels like less. It was definitely 120. It was definitely 30 frames per second. So anyway,
Slow-mo just happened to be out with the kids. Okay.
So Slow-mo again. Convenient. We will revisit, but we're gonna do that. But it felt, so it was 60, but it felt janky. Wow. So then maybe it was a bug then, because
that's what I think
felt
it is.
30. It felt 100% 30. And you know how I know? Because I've played a bunch of. I still, even after it dropped to 30 on loading screens. Okay. Even after the recent patches, I've still been playing. What do you call it? I've still been playing Cyberpunk on my Series X. And on the LG CX, you can definitely tell the difference between 30 and 60. It's like a real noticeable difference. And that was the feeling I was getting when I was playing the.
But why? Well, let me ask you a question. Why were you doing the gun range stuff?
Because I was just checking it out. There's a lot of new things that have been added. I wanted to see if anything was old, anything was new, if they cleaned anything up.
Now, let me ask you a question. Are you upset that the leaderboards weren't there?
Not at all. Not at all. They've already, like, I don't know if you watched the whole Halo the Waypoint conversation they had before this was released. They know it's a thing that people want. They're gonna bring it. They said they would.
I know that's the part. Yeah. That's the part. People. I mean, a lot of people cut out the fact that they were talking about weapon drills, but yeah, that's neither here nor there.
It's gonna come. They said it will. They know that people like it. I don't see a big deal. Like, that's just me personally. I don't know. I cannot muster the outrage.
Why are you damage controlling, bro?
I'm sorry. I cannot muster the outrage for numbers on the screen. Like, I could give a crap. I'm sorry. The game is fun. I'm still playing it. So, it is what it is. But anyway.
Right. So but 1 minute. I'm sorry, because Slow-mo's still in the chat. Now, Slow-mo doesn't realize that I set him up earlier in the week under the guise of helping one of our fellow gamers, Infinite Umbra, who happened to be having some issues because he bought the game that you have on screen on PC on the Epic Game Store.
What you're looking at is Epic Game Store footage. This is PC footage. But continue, yes.
Now, and yes, you are right, Slow-mo. They knew exactly what they were talking about. They just conveniently left that out. But anyway, back to this. So he was having an issue where he couldn't start the game. And so I asked Slow-mo, our resident, Slow-mo's a smart guy, and I knew he would know how to fix this.
Here we go.
Right?
What's going on?
So he comes in and he says, well, it turns out that there's been an issue where your PC may not have C++ installed properly, and you're going to have to get those binaries, run them on your PC, and then you'll get this thing working. And I just thought to myself, the magic of PC gaming.
No. Stop it. I will mute you right now, sir. I will mute you right now. This problem has nothing to do with PC.
Did you have to install C++ on your PS5 to play this game? Bro, I'm just asking a question. Ask a yes or no question.
This is not a yes or no type of situation. So stop it.
It's not.
I will mute you right now. And I'm not here to stand behind Slow-mo or whatever. I'm here to stand on the side of righteousness, okay? This is a first-time developer creating a first-time game where they ported it to multiple systems, right? You have to install C++. Usually that comes pre-packaged with most binaries, with most games. Oh, we're not sure you have it, so here's a prerequisite. Install this. It happens all the time. .NET, bunch of stuff. They're a new developer. They did not know to incorporate. It was missed on their part. Future references, it probably will be. It could have been the same on PlayStation. Could have been the same on Xbox.
But it wasn't.
Yeah.
Right? And the point is, the reason some people don't want to play on PC is because of weird complexities like that. What if Slow-Mo didn't know how to fix that thing? Dude would have had bought the game and would have just been sitting there twiddling his thumbs until
this is the PC community. If he didn't know how to fix that thing, a 2-minute Google would have sufficed.
So everybody was on the same. Can we acknowledge that there is value in the simplicity of console gaming?
Nobody denied that in the first place. At least I didn't. I have never denied. Oh, I've denied the benefit of console gaming. I have. I'm looking at my Series S and my Series X over there and my PS5 and all of my old school consoles in my other office. I deny that? Come on now. I know its value.
All right. Well, I mean, maybe you're smarter than some people. All right. So, what game do we want to talk about? Oh, I cut your whole story off.
No. It's all good. It's all good. So yeah, I was playing. What was I playing? I was playing Deathloop, and I really enjoyed Deathloop. I'm playing it on PC. Why am I playing it on PC? Because Green Man Gaming had a deal. I think I shared that with Slow-Mo as well, where you basically got the same game with all of the PS5 features for $49 on PC. You play it with a PS5 controller, you get your DualSense, everything, just like a PS5. Except the difference is this one I can go 100 frames per second and keep my 4K without having to make concessions. PCMR. I'm throwing that out there.
And by the way, you want to highlight Slow-Mo's last comment?
Oh, let's see.
This is his. He's using "People Can Fly" as his straw man for console gaming, as though that.
Wrong. He's not wrong. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I don't know if that's because of console gaming's why that was an issue. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, they're throwing the baby out with the bathwater on that one.
I know. Anyway, I know. Lot of conflation going on.
Yeah, So after I've been playing Deathloop for a while. Initially, I was like, I'll give it a shot. I think I'm about 6-7 hours in. It's a really good. No, actually more than that. Probably 20-30 hours in at this point. Very good game. Like, I get why people are so hyped about it. It's like they took a lot of mechanics from all the various sources of the games they've made in the past, and they made a shooter, but also brain puzzle shooter. It's like, think of 12 minutes. This thing happens over and over and over again, but you want them to do A, B, or C. So there are certain actions you need to take to get them to go to A, B, or C, right? You find out, and none of this is a spoiler, you find out that in order to break the loop for Deathloop, you have to kill 5 visionaries, 5 people, in the course of one day. But these people are everywhere. They're scattered all over the map. So it becomes a thing of, how do I kill multiple at the same time? Oh, okay, maybe if I go through this back door here, but this visionary is having an affair with that visionary. So at 5 o'clock every day, they come here and they do the smoochy. So if I get through the back door, then I can kill them both at the same time. Oh, how do I have the key to that back door? Well, you got to go hit. This is the type.
Now,
of
when you kill them, is it a whole boss fight, or is it sort of you can sneak up on them and assassinate?
It is a boss fight, but you can sneak up on them and assassinate them. Why? Because somebody can sneak up on you and assassinate you. It's the same kind of thing. Like, basically, they have superpowers like you do. They can blink. They can go invisible, depending on what slab they have. The dishonored powers are now considered slabs. That's what they're called. You wear one, and then you get the power of teleportation, the power to be invisible. There's some things where there's one where you can tie damage to multiple characters. So you come in and you tie them all together. So then they're one big pendulum. So if you hit one of them, whatever you do to one happens to all of them. Very interesting stuff. But it is a boss fight. Only in the sense of they're more dynamic. They're not fodder, so they'll fight you back. There are certain powers that they have. They're clones. They're multiples of themselves, things like that. But you can easily, if you know what they're doing and how they're doing it, you can easily like sneak up on them and break their neck, and that's that.
And okay, Dayron, I see you got 1,000 achievements in 12 minutes. I don't think I got that many, but I'm sure that I got almost all the endings.
You're close. You're close. I saw that.
I didn't do the one where you're kind of. So if you did that, that means you worked with the burglar to kill your wife and let him get away.
That's the coward ending. That's what I call that.
I might have to side eye you, sir.
There's an achievement for the coward ending. I saw that on the internet. I'm like, yo, that's crazy. He tells you to go sit in the living room while he kills your dog. Anyway.
Now,
spoilers.
Yeah, I do want to talk about that game though. Like maybe we can do that another day. But
we need to do a spoiler episode. But anyway, let me get back to my point real quick.
Yeah.
So after Deathloop, I was like, okay, Deathloop is great, and then Kenna came out, right? And these days I have a lot. Like the job I'm doing, I'm working a lot, so I'm spending a lot of time in my office, so I can't be in front of my PS5. So I'm like, okay, screw it. I'll buy Kenna also on the Epic.
Let me ask you a question. Have you tried to buy another PS5 for the office yet?
No.
I've been trying.
I have not because honestly, like I bought the Series S for my office and I barely use it, and the reason specifically why I bought the Series S is for the X screen. When that comes out, I'll put it to good use. But in my office, I really don't play games as much, and I have a PC, so that's my justification. So I did not buy it for the office, and besides, there are a lot of people out there who are looking for one. I already have one. No need for me to monetize, marginalize other people and keep it. So
I have two. I'm trying to get a third, but that's neither.
Hey, that's you. Do you play it? It's all good. You know, I have one. I barely play it these days. So why buy another $500 one? So when there are more, you know, we'll see. We'll see potentially.
You say you barely play your PS5?
Yes.
How dare you, sir?
I have Deathloop and Kenna on PC for reasons. So those are the only other two games I was gonna play, and now they're on PC. So I'm kind of like, until something comes out that I'm really excited about, that, and I have some time to go sit in my damn living room, I'll probably just be playing it here. But okay, so I've been going back and forth between Kenna and Deathloop for a while. I'm loving both of them a lot. There are problems with both of them, in my opinion, but they're not like the worst problems out there. You know, Kenna specifically, I hear is like the length of about like Miles Morales, like 8 to 10 hours, something like that. But this game is hard. Have you played this? How far have you played this?
I'm on Kappa. That's the first boss. I don't know if that's the first or second boss.
This game is hard. When I say it's hard, like people said that Death's Door was hard. Death's Door is not hard. This game is hard. It is brutal. It'll kick your ass until you figure out what it wants from you.
Let me ask you a question though.
Mm-hmm.
How difficult is it versus could it have been a little bit more polished with the combat in terms of canceling animations and dodging and how the parrying works? Because I feel like parrying doesn't work all the time the way it's supposed to.
I think it might be the button placement that might be the problem. The where they place the buttons, where they place the
I don't like. It's not a shooter. It shouldn't. A melee game, you should be pressing square or X on the Xbox.
So I had
to do square on PlayStation.
I had to do some creative remapping on my buttons to get it to work. I've been trying to play it the way they've intended because that's how I like to. I always like to play the way the devs intended, but this way is annoying. Like I can make it work with the low and the high, the light strike and hard strike, but I just can't make it work with the parry. The parry is ridiculous. By the time you press it, you're already a few minutes late, and you're already gotten. You're gonna see horrible footage of me getting murked left and right because of that parry system. So, but I like. I don't
even try to parry anymore. That's how sort of annoying it was.
That's gonna be a problem for you because in later stages, parry is the difference between life and death. Like Snowmo was playing this a little while ago. I was watching him play it, and he's absolutely right. It is literally the difference between. You got this. You can walk in like a boss versus everyone got you on your back. Pause.
Yeah, and it's weird also, like just understanding the damage that the enemies deal. Like small enemies with one hit will take away like a half your life or more.
It is a hard game. It is old school hard. Like we're not giving you a lot of content, but we're making sure that this content will drive you crazy for a while you're figuring it out. The puzzles are really interesting too. Some of them are like not diabolical, but you'll twist your brain figuring them out for a little while. And there's no like helpful hint like you get in the new school games. You know what I mean? This is quintessentially back in the day, old school. Here's your map. How do you get there? Good luck. Even the map is not particularly great. You know what I mean?
Like, you mean the map is not useful?
It's not. Well, it is more useful than other games. It is. Well, it'll point you in the relative direction, but it's not like a good map.
One complaint about Death's Door, not that we're talking about Death's Door, there's no map, which I found really annoying. Strange.
Yes. And in this game, is this game billed as an open world game? Do you know?
It's not really, because if you notice, they wall you off.
There are imaginary walls everywhere, and I keep hitting them. Look at this. Even the simplest things, like look, the whole thing is there's always sliding down. You're always sliding down places you should look. You will always and this has happened. Me sliding down while I'm in the middle of a boss fight. I'm stuck in the world like this while he's beating the hell out of me.
No, but this is what I'm saying. Like the difficulty of the game feels like it could have just, like it's probably like the size of the team or whatever. So like no shade at them. I think they made something amazing here.
Brilliant.
But
the animations are next level.
It still feels like the combat and some of the movement could have used a little bit more polish, I think.
Yeah, it seems like they spent a lot of their resource capital more on animation, and they could have maybe doled out a little bit of that stuff, because the animations are next level. I have never seen on a moment to moment basis when you see her sit down and playing with those rots. And let's talk about that name, rot. Really, cutest things ever. But calling them rot, that's just weird. Anyway.
Maybe it means something in another language.
Maybe it does. Maybe I'll see what it means at the end of it. But right now, it's a weird name for such a cute thing that you could literally merch the hell out of. But calling them rot is weird. Anyway.
When you think about it, though, I guess it's weird, right? Because
it is.
It seems like rot is what they fight.
Yes,
almost, right?
It seems like rot is corruption. Right. But you're calling these cute things rot? Like, that's weird.
But then
these things sell themselves, man. I can see plushies like going like left and right because this thing is beautiful, But for
they definitely could have made this into some sort of a movie Illumination or something like that.
Remember, these studios, these guys, Amber Labs, are Pixar animators. They have worked for Pixar. Like, definitively, that's what they have done. That's what their studio has done. And because of that, you can see it on the screen. It's beautiful.
But I feel like also because of that, because the world is so...
some pitfalls.
Yeah. It's because, like, you can't really cancel out animations here. That's my biggest
cancel out animations.
Issues.
There are hidden walls everywhere. Oh, it's open world, but you can only go here. Don't go there. It's a very open and linear world.
As you move forward, there's these walls, like magic walls, that stop you from going back sometimes. And the only way to go back is to teleport.
Yep. I completely agree, 100%.
But they're doing that so they can load more
assets.
Yeah.
Which is fine. They're funneling you through places where you want to go, and that's probably why I have an issue with the map, because the map makes it look like, oh, it's open, you can go wherever you want, but you can't. It's right there, but you got to go the long way around because they blocked everywhere off until you go that long way around to get to where they want you to be. It's very, very unusual, And yes, these games, even the simplest guys are hard as hell, and you fall off.
Yeah, sometimes it's just difficult to so the enemies keep spawning, and then you have to use the rot to stop that thing. But by the time you do that, you're already getting hit. And
you're already getting hit from the far.
Basically only get 3 hits before you're dead.
Yep.
So
and even if you don't see them hitting you, they can literally be in a tree halfway across the area without even being in view, and take aim and boom, you're done. Like, they can do that. So this is old school, back in the day, we're not holding your hand hard. I'm there for it to a certain extent because I like some of that non-hand-holdy stuff, but I feel like you're saying, it lacks a bit of polish to really flesh it out, clean up the combat, give you that agency, because it feels like sometimes that agency in you is lost. You're at the whim of the controls a little bit, I think.
That's the thing. I don't need the hand holding, but some of the And it's not that it's broken.
No,
it's just that it's annoying.
A little bit tuning. Yeah. It needs just a slight bit of tuning. Like, so in other words, if you play this on the series with a V2 Elite controller, you can tweak your settings to make it perfect. Like, I tweaked my settings to make my trigger better. I tweaked my settings to make like the response time faster, and that did kind of help it a little bit. But I completely hear you. See, like these parries I'm doing, very hard to accomplish in the default configuration. Very hard to accomplish.
And when do you get the arrow? Because I don't have that yet.
Yeah, you have to follow the storyline. At some point, like there's one mission where you're, for those who don't know, the story, you're basically shepherding souls to the afterlife. Souls that have come. You're a soul guide, basically.
Not unlike Death's Door.
Yes, exactly. Folks who have come, who have unfinished business, you help them resolve their issues, and then you help them traverse to the next place. So at some point, while helping a boy and his kids, his brother and sister find a way, like one of these spirit guides shows you that your staff can turn into a bow and arrow, and there's more to it. Eventually you can do other things. I've seen, like, you can use the rot in ways to like augment your strikes, and there's very interesting things that go on there. So we'll move on to the next game, but I will say, if you have not given this game a shot, I really think you should. Gabo is asking, are you a PlayStation fan? I will say, and I'll speak for my man Everborn, and you can elaborate there, Ever. But I say we are players in general. We play where the games are. If this game, if I had more time to sit in my living room, I probably would have played this game more than Deathloop. I probably would have played this game on PS5 because I kind of feel like it's very much a cinematic, sit back kind of a feel of a game. Whereas Deathloop, I'm enjoying it on my PC, and I still think it's good. So, I look forward to what comes next on the PS5. I'm sure that before the end of the year, we'll get some other interesting things on PS5 to play. So
yeah, man. To end, just to answer Gabe's question, there has since the Super Nintendo and Genesis, there has never been a console generation where I didn't own all of the consoles in the generation, right? From Nintendo to Sega, Sony, and Microsoft. So I do not consider myself a neutral. I do most of my gaming on Xbox, but I appreciate what everybody's doing. And I play. I have a PlayStation for the exclusives, and I play all my multi-plats on Xbox, plus all the other things that they do in the exclusive realms, and all the big Nintendo exclusives. So what does that make me? I don't know, but
it makes you a gamer. That's what it makes you. It makes you a man who plays games where the games live.
Yes.
And that's why I'm trying to break that idea of, are you a PlayStation gamer and Xbox? You're a gamer. You have multiple options. You can play it where you are, as am I, right? It shouldn't matter that I'm playing.
But I do. On PlayStation. I will say, PC. I try my best not to play on PC.
See, and that is where your fraud is visible, because clearly there's benefit to all of these places. You choose to avoid PC, even though you have a 3080, good sir. You need to give that thing back.
I played Cyberpunk on the PC.
It was a great experience.
If I am stuck at my desk in my home office, I will begrudgingly play on the PC.
And you can plug in a freaking controller, and it's exactly the same experience. It is.
And if I have, and like I said,
actually, no, I'm wrong. It's not the same experience. It's better. By and large, the console experience. When you're playing a console game, no, I'm being factual. I'm not being. I know it's slanderous. I'm being factual. Because look, again, Kenna is 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second, depending on which one you choose. Except on PC, where you get it all. I mean, look, you can have
provided
your choice.
You have C++ installed on your machine. But anyway, the thing is,
which is so hard to come by.
Like I said, when given the option of a multiplat, I will play it on Xbox. That is that is my biggest allegiance to Xbox. But I'm not really I don't think I'm aligned with anybody.
You know, my biggest allegiance is probably to the Xbox controller more than anything else.
Oh, absolutely.
Because as long as it plugs into wherever I am, I've been known to play like through xCloud or through even NVIDIA GeForce Now, which I want to touch on real quick. Controller,
and you know about that double tap the pair button to switch between devices you have.
I've been doing that, yes. And actually, what's cool is when you do that now on Steam, you can change the button, your button color, because Steam lets you change RGB color, so you can turn the white button into any color you want. You know, and then that's how you know you switch to PC. So as soon as you double tap and it switches to console, it gets white. When you double tap, you switch to whatever PC you want. It switches to the color you choose. So you can know which. It's really interesting. It's cool. They're adding interesting things to it. Anyway, but yes, I think we need to get away, and we'll revisit this when we have that Spaces conversation, because we're going to have a bit of a conversation about Spaces. I honestly think we need to rethink our idea of where games live and are we gamers, where we play. I play wherever I happen to be. These days I happen to be in my office more, so I will play whatever I can in my office, because then I can game and still get work done in between a meeting or something.
No, you're not getting any work done, but
I am getting work done. I am. But
your boss watches this show, doesn't he?
No, he does not. Hopefully nobody does. None of them do. No. But anyway, so I was playing that, and then I started and then out of nowhere, like you, right? What do you call it? Scarlet Nexus came out, and I was like, yeah, okay, you know, and like you, when the demo came out, I tried it. I was like, okay, I know what this is, and I'll switch to the Scarlet Nexus footage real quick so we can have this conversation. You know, I know what this is. Hey, if it's Big Bad Mo's in the house, what's going on, man? Good to see you here. Thank you for showing up. So started playing the game. I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. It's on sale, right? So it gives you more of an easier barrier to entry. I'm like, you know, this is not really my thing. I've never really been a fan of this, because let's be honest, like my anime slash the whole gaming with both games and anime and media in general, this became hot to where I was growing up. By the time it kind of skipped me a little bit. So like Dragon Ball, obviously those are the stalwarts that we can all agree to. But after that, I didn't really delve deep into any more of it, because I had moved on school and all of this stuff. So it's never really connected with me.
He started dating.
Yes.
and
Gabe O asked me to define the definition of a gamer. In my opinion, a gamer is somebody who plays the games wherever they can find them, right? And if you have the choice of multiple platforms and you make that choice, then you're a gamer, right? If you have the choice of multiple platforms but you stick with one, then you are a gamer of that specific platform. You're a PlayStation gamer because you choose to be. Some people don't have that choice, and it is what it is, obviously. But if you're a person who can play on PC, play on Xbox, play on all the various consoles, right? I consider you a gamer like me. You know, I have an NVIDIA, an Oculus Quest 2 right over there. And by the way, I also side-loaded Game Pass on it. So
I gotta dust off the Oculus Quest, man.
We need to do that. Yes, it's
keep
getting
saying
better
you're
all
gonna
the
get
time.
me into this thing.
It keeps getting better all the time. You know, wherever the games happen to be, I love PlayStation. I have all my PlayStation consoles still. Like, I have them when you guys forget the PS3 still exists. I'm the one still tinkering with them. You know what I'm saying? So I just love games. I consider myself a gamer, and by that I mean wherever games live, that's where you'll find me. That's what I mean by that. Anyway, so Scarlet Nexus comes out. I'm not a big fan of the melodrama, you know, the monologuing, the inside voice being your outside voice. Oh my God, does this person like that person? Let me go probe him for questions and find out, stuff like that. And all the while you see it, you know, on screen, you know. So my initial idea on this game was, I'll give it a shot for a few hours. I probably won't like it, and then I'll move on. Believe it or not, I really like this game. You know, the moment-to-moment combat really did it for me. So the idea being, these kids, you're in a different world. I'm only a few hours. I think I'm about 5 hours, 6 hours in, so I haven't heard the whole story. But basically, you're in this world where these children, there are some people that get extraordinary powers, telekinesis, all various powers. You know them, right? And they are recruited by this organization because there are these weird creatures considered the others, who then come in and ravage the city and kill people and all of this. And when you play the game, you have your own power, but you're a team of 4, and you can borrow the powers of others. So not others as in the bad guys, but others as in your teammates. So you have telekinesis. Somebody else is able to pyromancy. Is able to start fires. Somebody else is able to slow down time. So depending on the enemy on screen, some of them are super fast. You need to borrow that power to slow down time so you can see them, and you combine them, and they do really interesting things. So the moment to moment really got me there, and I was just like, yo, this is awesome. I can play this all for a while. And then to my crazy reluctance, I started liking the story, and the melodrama started getting to me. So now I'm like,
so is it like a telenovela? Is everybody dating?
Kind of. It's kind of, oh my God, and this person's doing this with that person, and there's a shadowy organization, and all the while, this person, my sister likes this person, so I need to go make sure that this person is safe. Weird melodramatic stuff. Very weird. But I find myself eating it up on a moment-to-moment basis. Like I said, I've been working a lot in my office, so this is one of those things where I just turn my brain off and just go, oh my God, I can't believe he did that shit. It's crazy. It's a crazy game. But I'm loving the moment-to-moment. How long have you played Scarlet Nexus so far?
I did the training mission and the first mission. That's it. And then I went straight to Tails. Mm-hmm. So I haven't even gotten to the share your powers with people yet. Mm-hmm. But I did do all that in the demo.
Okay. Yeah, that demo, you're right. That demo was not initially that demo, I was like, oh, this is interesting. It made me like the combat, obviously not so much the dialogue. And you said the demo like put you off of it a little bit. I do agree with you that the demo is not the best representation of what you'll be doing in that game moment to moment. I really do enjoy it far more than what the demo showed off. I like the music. I like the world building. It's quite interesting. Of course, I sought out the anime, and it's only it's very hard to find right now, only in Japanese.
They put the first episode on YouTube.
Did they? Oh, yeah. Then that's a source I have not.
Maybe the first and second episode. It's on Funimation, I think.
Oh, cool. Yeah, then I definitely need to tap into that because, I found it interesting. I'm like, is this something I'm gonna be able to just watch? Like, I'm gonna watch this like a show and I like it. We'll see. But I found it quite interesting, and I am highly enjoying it.
Okay.
One last honorable mention that I'll pop in here. Okay, and I'll switch to that real quick.
Did you start Tales of Arise, by the way, before you?
I have not bought it yet because this is my entry level and I'm enjoying it. Once I've finished it, we will revisit that conversation because I remember you having a question to PTG's own Tempest son, asking him the difference because he's big on these kinds of games. The difference between
I don't know if I really got an answer from him.
Well, he did. He said that one's more Devil May Cry like, and this is more traditional JRPG. So this is more entry level, and that's more intermediate.
Okay. So this one is Devil May Cry like.
Yeah, this is more Devil May Cry like, and Tales of Arise is more traditional JRPG. Like you said, you switch to the different mode and then you fight. It's not that action that you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? Like that is more traditional JRPG style grinding the whole nine. This is more melodrama smacked with a little bit of Devil May Cry action to it. So
yeah,
this is
one
my
last
speed,
thing,
I think.
About something Gabe O asked. Mm-hmm. I think you don't need to put in hundreds of hours, right? Like you are a gamer if you game. That's it. Yeah. Now there are sort of
levels.
It's levels to it. There's there's sort of sub genres, as they say, right? Sub communities, and so you could be, another level is PlayStation or an Xbox gamer. Another level is the kind of the people that have those hundreds of hours to put in, right? Mm-hmm. Like you talk about like Randall Thor with a million gamer score and things like that. Mm-hmm. Then you got the professionals, You know what I mean? And then you got some guys that only play Madden, and they're hardcore.
And they're just as much gamers as anybody else. That's right.
And they're hardcore Madden or 2K players, right? Like so.
Indeed. Yep.
Don't don't let anybody gatekeep you.
That's right.
All I'm saying.
I think. Remember, Everborn. I think I referenced this old lady who reviews games on the internet. She could be my mother, like she's in her 70s or 80s or whatever, and she's on I think she's from Australia. She's online like reviewing games, reviewing RPGs. She is the definition of a gamer. But when you see her, you go, hell no. Are you serious? This is what I mean. This is why I love gaming so much. It brings so many people from so many different avenues and different aspects of life together for that main topic. And like you're saying, and I'm in complete agreement with it, that should be celebrated instead of gatekept. Oh, you don't play X amount of hours, so you're not this or you're not that. It's amazing that they all
this
enjoy
thing.
That.
If you appreciate this thing of ours, as they call it on The Sopranos, then you're a gamer, right? If you're paying attention to this news, if you're watching this, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so.
Oh, yeah, real quick. I'm switching media because this is the honorable mention I want to pop in. You can sit down and you can finish this game from beginning to end in one sitting, or 2 sittings if you have a nice weekend. It's I
forgot about this.
5 hours.
I've been exclusively playing this on xCloud.
People, y'all need to play this. It's an experience. It's easy as hell. It's not about a challenge. It's a bit of Simon Says. It's a bit of air guitar, but it's such an experience, and it deserves the end of the year conversations because it's such a unique visual experience. If you are a music lover of any stripe, I have a music degree. I play many instruments. I have loved music all my life. I'm a musician at heart. This game is for you. I call it the Ziggy Stardust Simulator.
Is all you do in this game hold X and press forward?
Excuse me. No. You play. You're speaking to people. It's very much an adventure game kind of idea. You're speaking to people to get new ways of moving the story forward. There's like during quote unquote boss battles, there's like kind of a Simon Says kind of a thing. You're kind of harmonizing with the boss. So it's like, oh, you're on stage now. It's time to play the big concert, and they'll show you. They've already shown you this button this color means this button. This color means that button. This color. So at some point, you need to harmonize with the person on the screen in order for you to play that super mega ultra concert. And if you miss it, it's like, it fails. Small fail state. But none of them will stop the game and be like, oh, it sucks. Like a fail state. It's like if you've played Oxenfree. Look on the screen. It's like Oxenfree dialogue with adventure game kind of mechanics, but it's all in service of this story of self-discovery, this story and just rad 80s hair band rock and roll ridiculousness. It is such an experience. It's very cool. It's very, very. I am excited that I sat down. There was a beginning, a middle, an end. It was short. This is like my quintessential perfect man with responsibility and kids game. You enjoy it. You step back. You go, man, I love that journey. That was amazing. And then
have you played Song of Iron yet?
I am 10 minutes into Song of Iron because there's just so many games coming at me. I have it. I just have not put in much time into it. Just like Scarlet Nexus, I was late to that train. I will probably be the one talking about how amazing Song of Iron is in December once some of these other games have passed me by. Have you put some hours into it yet?
No, I haven't started it yet.
Yeah, I bought it, and I started the initial playthrough, and I get the whole inside vibe with a little bit of combat and all of that. And something, as Pixel says, it must be completed. So we will complete it, good sir. We just haven't gotten to it yet, unfortunately. I don't know how long that is. This was about 3-4 hours, no more. And I loved it. I thought this was absolutely, even if you don't like this kind of music, you can say, like, you can see this game, and then somebody says gaming is not an art form, and tell them to go F off. Because this is, and by the way, on screen right now, Everborn, this is what I mean by the Simon Says thing.
Okay.
They kind of, you know. And once they show you this once, they won't show it to you again. They'll expect you to know it. So then it becomes, oh, you're on stage now. There's a new antagonist challenging you to a battle, a duel, right? And you have to kind of match their style or go beyond it. Yeah, it's about 5 hours or less, yeah. But it's a very cool experience. Whether you like this type of music or not, it's a very, very cool experience. And I think everyone should play it. It's on Game Pass. There's no excuse. I tweeted my admiration for it, and the indie developer retweeted it. He really appreciated it. You know, like we've been talking about for a while now on this show, there's a bunch of indie 1-2-man teams, small guys really out there making it shine, and this is definitely one of those. So you should definitely keep this on your radar and try it out. So if you haven't finished it, good sir, I would urge you to do that, and I think you would agree that if nothing else, this is truly art. It may not be a game, but it's art. For sure, it's art.
Yeah, no, it looks absolutely amazing.
And it's beautiful, yes. Oh, and you finished Psychonauts, so you saw the psychedelic level.
I did see the psychedelic level.
This game is
did
that. Did
you see that Psychonauts thread I did that kind of just showed some of the different variety?
I did, but I didn't see all the way through. I need to go revisit that. Yes. But yes, so you dug the psychedelic level. This game is that level, but blown out, right? It goes to crazy places. Anyway, so yes, I want to move on. With all the games we've been playing, I kind of want to know: is there any games that you have been playing as of late that you really want us to deep dive into? That you want to tell the people about games that maybe no one has been talking about? I know you've been trying out Tales of Arise. Where are you on that?
But that's the thing. Tales of Arise, I'm only like hour and a half into because Kenna came out. Mm-hmm. And then
how many hours are you playing?
I'm at the Kappa boss. I don't know how many hours in I would consider that. But that
2 hours? An hour and a half?
Yeah. He's the guy who spawns into 3 places and then jumps to the top of the hill. And then he keeps throwing like bombs at you that turn into more people to fight.
About an hour and a half, 2 hours. Yeah, you're right around.
So I went to the top of the mountain to whoever's house that is, which was kind of a cool when you see that big open vista and you know you got to get to the top of that mountain. Wild
almost.
Yeah. Well, not
at
really.
The beginning of it kind of gives you that.
No. But see, it is Breath of the Wild in terms of like visual scope.
That's what.
But Breath of the Wild allows you to interact with all of those things,
That's
and
right.
you can actually climb that mountain in any way you want, as opposed to having the invisible walls that you can slide down and the artificial thing that you can't go here and there.
You're right. They were going for Breath of the Wild in visuals, but not in actual full gameplay, which is unfortunate. You know, it makes you want that Breath of the Wild gameplay, but visually, boy, that game shines. Anything else?
No, and like I said, Tales of Arise, it's definitely I'm interested so far because of the story. I'm getting used to the combat. I'm hearing it opens up later on. So, but I feel like all I've been playing since Thursday night, Friday morning was this Halo Infinite flight.
Yeah, we'll get into there.
And the Sonic
into that.
We will, and the Sonic Colors game, like I actually like. Colors? I will finish Sonic Colors because, and I won't be happy about it. It's not. This is not like, oh my god, it's so good that it deserves completing. It's like it's a Sonic game, so I guess.
So you have to.
The last good Sonic game was Sonic Mania. And even that, and I heard the developer that made that didn't get paid.
Well, you know why, right? Well, I wouldn't say you know why. I would say that story of Sonic Mania was very interesting. They were making their own game. They were making they were basically making Sonic without authorization, and Sega shut them down. But then they were so impressed with what he did that they gave him a job to help them with Sonic Mania. So he was basically a hacker slash person that was taking assets that don't belong to them and make their own Sonic game because they got sick and tired of waiting for
Sega
to make a good one
with some respect.
That's right. So he started making his own, and they obviously dashed his dreams on that end, but then they basically gave him the keys to Sonic Color.
But what was his complaint about what money he didn't get? Right? Did they bring him on as an employee, or was he supposed to get participation?
He was brought on as contractor. I think he was brought on as contractor. It was a big thing back in the day. That's the big reason why Sonic Mania received so much of those accolades when it did when it came out, because it was like a true, tried and true vision of what Sonic was back in the day, and because it was made by somebody who loved it that much. But I think because of that, they kind of used him, and I'll dig through the details, and we can have a more frank conversation later. I've only heard the dribs and drabs of it. I should do a bit more research on it. But because of that, it seems like he was kind of shafted. He was made to make that work because he loves it so much, and you can see it in Mania. But then the back end stuff wasn't negotiated correctly, most likely on his part, because you know how business is, and he got shafted about it and made us think about it.
See, and that's the thing. And even with that game, I wish they would have given it like a coat of paint in terms of what we expect from today's graphics. Like, imagine if you had that game. I'm not saying it needs to have the art style as Ori, but that fidelity.
Yeah, no, I get you.
And that's what I want.
Of it.
Yes.
You want like almost
Streets of Rage 4. No, Streets of Rage 4. There you go. That's the prime example. If you would have given it that coat of paint.
Rage 4, I see what you mean. So there is a potential for one day getting a new school, clean look of it, but still retaining the same gameplay and the same aspects. I get
yes, that's what I want for a Sonic game, and I'd like them to find a way to also do something in the AAA realm for 3D Sonic. But that is a
let's move on. But before we do, let's continue the tradition of highlighting folks that either agree with us or people who make funny comments. And Erodimus here is mentioning all these games that I'm playing. I wonder if there was a service where I could just try them all.
If only something like that existed. You know what? I think that service would be a terrible idea.
It'd be a terrible idea.
Because I like to support the devs.
Yeah, because I like to pay cold hard cash for my stuff.
And even on Netflix, I buy all the movies on there.
I need to pay for it.
And my hard-earned money that could be going to my kids' college fund, I would rather give that to the publisher,
the slander,
not the developers. I'd rather give it to the publisher that makes those games, because I don't know.
Stop the slander, good sir. We're moving on from this conversation. Let's move on to, there's been some news conversations happening. It's been a light week, but there have been some interesting news conversations that have been happening, and we also missed a week, so there were conversations that were had in the back end that we weren't able to talk about here. Very lightly, do you want to touch on the whole acquisition season thing that blew up last week that we didn't get to talk about?
Oh, Jesus. All right.
Go ahead.
Look, Bethesda was a big deal, right? I think we can all agree on that. It was a huge deal. It was a mammoth deal.
Really? What was that? I don't know what you're talking about. I heard Nixon was a big deal. Continue.
Last week's news. But it will take time for such a thing to reoccur, right? Stars have to be lined up, and it doesn't really, I don't think it was the most wise thing for Satya Nadella to be so publicly open about their aspirations to acquire more studios, and basically the admission that you don't just build a new studio, which I always thought was interesting because they were literally building the initiative. But I'm sure we will talk about that later as it relates to Crystal Dynamics. Now, because of that, it is very hard for a deal of that size to work. Many reasons for that, right? If you are a developer and Microsoft, the second most valuable company in the world, only slightly by a couple of $100 million behind Apple, you're going to think, well, you guys got money. I'm raising the price on you. and you said how thirsty you are and you need it for your service, don't you? Right? So that's one way a deal could go wrong. And there's a million other reasons. You don't know how some of these IPs licensings are tied up. There's a million reasons why a deal could go wrong. And that Bethesda even happened could be a once in a generation or once in a lifetime kind of thing. Right? Yeah. People thought it was a huge deal when Activision and Blizzard merged, right?
Yeah.
That didn't happen again until
at that time. It was a huge deal. You know, it was a
no. That's what I'm saying. But look how long ago that happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, do I expect more studios? Sure, but even then, I
remember when SquareSoft combined with Enix, and now people forget that used to be SquareSoft.
I remember when Square let go of IO Interactive, but again, that is going to be a topic for a little bit later, I suppose. Mm-hmm. Now, again, so expecting like another big publisher in less than a year since the last big publisher closed is optimistic to say the least, right? Not saying it can't happen, but just look at the law of averages.
It's unlikely,
right?
Yeah.
And now that I've given you that disclaimer,
I say all that to say,
I listen. If people like have fun and speculate about this stuff, like let them have their fun.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? As Ebony Maw explained to Corvus Glaive, let him have his fun, right? In Infinity War. It's fun to speculate because there's
a whole YouTube channel around it. Shout out to Fun Speculation.
Hey, the sort of corporate Game of Thrones and predicting or analyzing the machinations of how these conglomerates will do to compete in this new market or push the market in a new direction is very interesting, right?
Yeah.
So, we're going to talk about that Mario movie casting, Gabo. Don't worry.
Indeed, we will.
But for me, I thought the one, and this is not the one that I want, right?
Okay.
If we're talking about what I want, I selfishly want Microsoft to acquire Sega so that they can put some respect on Sonic's name. But we've been over that, right? So I'm not saying this. I'm not saying this as wishful thinking for me. I'm just saying what I think would make the most sense for Microsoft at this time would be Ubisoft. And I'll walk you through why I think it makes sense. This has nothing to do with whether I think it will work. This has nothing to do with when or if I think it will come to pass. I'm just saying if I'm playing this game.
I can't help it, man. I'm sorry.
Nothing to do whether I think this will come to pass or when it would come to pass or any of that, right? But I think for them, the most sense would be Ubisoft, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I think between the developers that they have on hand, right, in there, and then adding Bethesda, I think, please, because I know what you're going to say, I just think the studios that they have and based on the games that have been announced, they are overly leveraged on first-person perspective games, and there are a lot of. I said based on what they've announced, also because I know you was going to say just because they did this thing, how can they do the other thing? I can only go by what's announced. So, their players have been asking them for quite some time for
third-person over the shoulder.
I'm just saying third-person action
adventure,
right?
Sad daddy games. Yes, I get it.
It doesn't have to be sad, Dad. I'm just saying.
I'm just throwing some slander out there. The slander in this show is high. I can do it too. Damn it.
Okay. All right. So their players have been asking for them for that. They're selling a service that is supposed to have a wide variety of content, and that is some content that is very light, in terms of what they can guarantee that will be included in their service, in the service that is Game Pass. Okay. So I think that with Ubisoft, and remember their market cap right now is $7.5 billion, which means they could probably make a purchase
12,
like that.
13.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Listen, tell them shut the hell up. Here's $14 billion, twice your value. Tell your
Eve,
shareholders to be mad at that.
Eve, go live on an island in somewhere in France. Yes,
I'm coming to that, right? Because we all know that Ubisoft has been having internal issues, and Yves Guillemot is at the top. What better way for him to step away, right? He'll unfortunately get his golden parachute, but then he will be out of the picture. Mm-hmm. And what does Microsoft need to gain back before they even get into the Japanese market? Mm-hmm. They need to regain the EU. And what better way to start to address that problem by having headquarters in the EU, which you would get from Ubisoft, right? So this solves their third-person problem with recognizable IPs. Hold on. One minute. So Assassin's Creed, right?
Yeah.
We got Watch Dogs, right? They just did that Phoenix Rising thing, right? And here's the thing. You may say, Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs have been cookie cutter so far. That's because they're forced to put them out every year.
Well, I wouldn't say so far. I'm saying they've oversaturated that franchise. It would be useful for Microsoft for that franchise if they then buy UB. Let's have that thought experiment. They buy UB, they put UB to task, give them a whole bunch of different IPs that you wouldn't expect them to have, and then maybe cycle 1 game, 2 games, and then bring back the game.
Listen. You can cycle goddamn Sam Fisher and bring back. Exactly. Imagine that announcement where they say we're bringing back Splinter Cell. It would give. Well,
they wouldn't say Splinter Cell. All they would do is say, "Hey, we bought Ubisoft," and before, "Oh, yes, thank you so much. That was the announcement. Ubisoft is now part of Xbox."
And one more thing.
No, one more thing. Game Studios. Okay, thank you. Good night. And while the light closes, meet the lights, and then it goes away. That's it. Don't even tell them a date. What happened there? Just like they did with what do you call it? Marvel, when they showed the 4 and everybody goes, "Is that Fantastic Four? Is that Captain America 4?" We don't know. You don't know.
Well, okay, sure, that's fine. But I'm saying, you do that, and it'll be a hit for the fans. True. Right? That you're bringing back Sam Fisher. You have your third-person IPs. You have a headquarters. You get Yves Guillemot's the fuck out of there, right? You can give the studios, right? You can give them time to slow down on the service-based games. True. And they can serve your single player.
And in the meantime, you can put their library that everybody knows and loves into Game Pass, and slowly to keep people excited.
And for all ages content, you get Rabbids and Rayman.
Rayman, yeah.
You have the Division for shooters, right?
Switch that one up, in my opinion. But yeah,
listen,
that's true.
You could give the Division to the Coalition, but we're not even talking about that. Now
he's all excited now.
So what I'm saying is, I would love to see an Assassin's Creed that got the time to do the polish it deserves to set it apart in the way that it has been traditionally. But right now they're trying to push them out because they don't have other things to rely on if those things don't hit. So you all across the board, I think it fits. It plugs a lot of the holes that they have. In terms of recognizable IP, nostalgia, all ages content, foothold in the EU. Now, let me tell you why this won't work or why it'll be a problem.
Okay.
Ubisoft did not make a lot of money last year. They turned a profit this year. Last year, they lost, I don't know, maybe 100 million, 150 million. If you look at their financial earnings report, right? Okay. They've turned that around in the current fiscal year, or not current, but last fiscal year. So I'm saying like fiscal 21, which just completed. So now they're in fiscal 22. But fiscal 21, they turned a profit. Fiscal 2020, they lost 150 million. So it could be that Microsoft may look at those books and say, this isn't worth it for us. And also, the thing to understand is Ubisoft has some 20,000 employees.
True.
That's across publishing, dev, HR, art, all those things. So taking that on is an issue because how many employees does Bethesda have?
ZeniMax.
Yeah, ZeniMax.
ZeniMax has the same level of employees, man.
You sure about that? I thought they had 3,500.
No, if you take into account all they have a publishing arm, they have multiple locations per studio. They're up there. It's just the difference, and the reason why I think that's not as much of a problem is that Ubisoft was ZeniMax is somewhat of a well-oiled machine, agreed that they were heading down the wrong path, and Tencent was sniffing around, but they were a pretty well-oiled machine before the acquisition. So Microsoft takes on very minimal risk because as it stands, they have products that are currently feeding the beast as far as their employees currently without the need of any Microsoft income, right? Without any kind of influx of cash. You would think Ubisoft would be relatively in the same situation, but like you're saying, since they lost so much in the previous quarter, it might change the calculus for acquisition.
And one other thing, last point in the plus column, you get all the Tom Clancy IP.
True.
Rainbow Six. What are the other ones?
Oh, at this point, I can't even remember them because they keep throwing Tom Clancy's name on everything, even though he does not belong there. I think it's a Travis mockery of his legacy, but that's neither here nor there. That's a different conversation.
Well, the point is they would get those shooters,
and they could hopefully fix them.
And they would fit right. They would fit well into the stable. So to me, no idea if this would ever happen. If they could make it work, if they would want to even deal with the EU. Just because the EU are hard asses about everything.
No, you'd say Ubi's the one that they should logically go for, although your heart says Sega.
Sega. My heart says Sega because of Sonic.
Let me give you my opinion real quick, and we'll move on because I want to touch on some of these other news topics before we adjourn today. We're trying to keep it tight. So I hear you on that. I also can think that people went too far with it. It wasn't happening anytime soon, but speculation is fun. And on the speculation realm, you've heard me speculate as you're speculating. And I agree with a lot of your points and a lot of the EU conversation and all of that. But my conclusion, after putting all those tea leaves together like you have, mine would be Embracer Group, as you've already heard, right?
You've already heard me disagree, but I will let
Which is fine.
I will sell. You sell your snake oil to the audience, and then I will break it down.
No. But listen. I won't sell it because we're going to move on. But let me tell you why I think it's a better fit. I would think it's
you're going to sell it.
No. I've let you tell me why Ubisoft is the reason, and I've let you, and even Sega, and I'm just letting you know. I think none of them are valid. But if you're putting your, hey, we have Game Pass, hey, we want to grow our viewership immediately by like banging them over the head with content on a like daily basis, Pixel, agreeing with your man, I say Embracer is the way to go. Why? Because it gives you all, not even half, all of AA immediately. Like immediately. And let me finish.
That brand use a AA service?
I know it does. I know it does. But this is not the point. Because Netflix is not just a place of the AAA movies. It's not. You can watch a dumb, ridiculous reality show, which my wife loves to watch on Netflix, as well as Roma. There's a piece of the puzzle for everyone on that service. And yes, I get it. The gamers have their ridiculous requirements, but Microsoft is a $2 trillion company that doesn't have to just adhere to what you minorities want, right? The larger audience just wants content. So you can call it Game Pass fodder all you want. And how do they counteract that narrative? They're still making the AAA stuff that we already know about. They've already said that. So I say, get Embracer in there. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you have Kingdoms of Amalur on Game Pass, day one, the remake. You have so many great, look them up. All of Gearbox's stuff. Yes, I understand the Randy Pitchford and Beast Mode, you're absolutely right. That's what stopped them from actually heading towards that place with Randy Pitchford back in the day. But if you own Embracer Group, you own the company that owns all of them. So you don't even have to meet him face to face and go, hey, this is the deal. No. We own your building. You're no longer employed here. Peace out. They could easily do that because they now own the group. Embracer Group owns Gearbox. So it wouldn't even be what are we going to do with this guy? They could easily get rid of the guy without having it be a thing. Okay? So that's neither here nor there. Again, I'm not saying it will happen. I'm not saying it has to happen. I'm just saying while people, the reason I bring up specifically the Embracer Group point is I need people to think outside the box. It's not just the big three, the big four. Oh, Ubi, oh, Sega, oh, Capcom. Oh, there's so many of them out there. And they're secretly making crazy moves, and Microsoft sees that. So it's not just those ones that everybody knows and cares about that are important. There are others out there who may not necessarily be on the tip of your tongue or a household name, but they're making big things happen every day, and you just aren't recognizing it. You're not seeing it. So and they would own the EU if they owned Embracer Group. Because Embracer Group is all over the EU, all over.
All I would say is I think that it's not a bad...
multiple publishing arms. They are a well-oiled machine. They have ridiculous amount of employees, but they're all paying them right now. You don't need Microsoft money for that. They would literally just have a full library for Game Pass day one. You would be talking about 10, 15 games releasing per month. Ridiculous numbers like that. And it would all be exclusives rather than, that game that you have over there, we have it here too. Embracer Group makes a lot of games for a lot of people, including mobile game, PlayStation, Nintendo, a lot of games.
All I'm saying is Embracer Group is something, if that is an option, I think it's one that you make, it's an option that you sort of go for after you've established the quality of the service.
Well, but
right? Because there are people right now. Hold on a minute.
It doesn't matter those people. Those people are a minority within a minority.
You're not hearing me. You're not hearing me.
Go ahead.
What I'm saying is there are people right now that feel like they don't need to subscribe to Game Pass.
Sure.
Right? And this is why they don't have 100 million or 200 million subs, because some people feel like they have to get to a place where it is so undeniable that people are like, oh my God, I have to be on that service.
Yeah.
Right? And the way you do that is the big name titles. When you hear this big name thing is on there, that big name is on there.
That comes in time, and time is a thing that you can't speed up. You can't jump to the end of the line and provide AAA immediately. Right? It comes with time. God of War, one of the greatest games ever made, took 6 years to produce. Now, the subsequent releases won't be as long because they're reusing certain assets, but to get that magic, it takes time, right? So while that time is happening, guess what? Then you got your AA studios that can churn it out quickly, and they have remakes, and they have a lot of remasters. They have just content galore, so you can fill that, flood the zone there while you still go Avowed is coming, while you still go Redfall's coming, while you still go Starfield is coming. Just because Embracer Group shows up with a bunch of AA's, and the remastered edition of shows up on Game Pass doesn't mean that all of a sudden it becomes fodder. You know what I'm saying? But needless to say, I don't want to go too far in this direction because we've had this conversation, and obviously where we both agree is pump your brakes, people. This ain't happening anytime soon. And if it does happen, it won't happen under a telegraphed timeline that some YouTuber has announced, hey, it's going to happen tomorrow. Calm down, folks. It's good that we weren't.
It will be a full surprise to everyone, including us and any of your other favorite YouTubers.
Indeed. And that's where I wanted to go. My Embracer Group comment is more open your minds, but let's be real. It ain't coming anytime soon. Like, and if it does, you won't see it happening. It'll hit you over the head with it, right? But okay, let us move on. Beyond that, there's also a little bit of news that I want to touch on regarding regarding what's the name of the game?
Wait, hold on. Can you highlight Beast Mode's comment? Oh, I want to understand that one.
What is this sudden fascination with AA? Diversity for design and not for budget. Okay, what I mean by AA is, as you've heard,
I don't know that I fully understand his question, so maybe you do. That's why I bring it up. Maybe he can elaborate too. But go ahead. He's talking
about when he says AA. He says why all of a sudden the fascination for AA, diversity for design and not for budget. He's saying that we should focus more on diversity in design and the vision of the creator, and not necessarily how much it'll cost. And what I'm trying to say is, we're gamers, true, but I'm speaking from a business perspective. I'm putting on my business hat and saying, at the end of the day, AA's, and we've heard that Sean Layton's coming out there. We already know he's being a little self-serving. He probably wants another job, But what he's saying from at its core is not necessarily false. Budgets are ballooning. The one game is $200 million. It's too much of a weight to expect that they will diversify and do more and more and more when the uplift is becoming more and more difficult every time. That's the reason why your AA's, your studios, your publishers who are okay with being AA, your Devolver Digital who are about special experiences rather than money experiences, that's why they're so necessary. Because while you're working on that huge budget, then you have your AA's filling in the gaps and still making fans happy with amazing games that you wouldn't know you would like, all the while that $200 budget game is also being made. You know what I'm saying? It's not to say that, because it's $200, because it's a budget game, all of a sudden it sucks. Hell no. Death's Door proves that, as well as many other games that are proving that.
Okay, if that's what the comment means,
that's my perception of what he was saying. He's saying let's focus less on the budget and more on the diversity in design. I'm saying that both can be true. And from the business perspective, Microsoft wants that AA because AA means shorter window. It means, this month, next month, more stuff. Just like Netflix. Not everything is a multi-million-dollar budgeted show, right? Some of them are little experiences to keep people happy while the big budget stuff is being made. That's all I'm saying. So yeah. Using any of the A's is about the budget. Yeah, of course. That's my point. From a gaming perspective, I personally don't care what A it is, as long as it's a brilliant game that I didn't know about before. I love the AAA's. I love your Ghost of Tsushima's. I love your Last of Us's. I love them all. I do. But I also love Death's Door, and I also love Kenna Bridge of Spirits, games that are made by just a small handful of folks, and you were like, yeah, it looks interesting, and then it blows you away. And I feel like sometimes money can be detrimental. It adds too much time. It adds too much overhead to the process. When they're small and in scope, they're limited. They churn it out, and they can keep churning it out. And more different studios can have different ideas.
Kind of like too many cooks in the kitchen.
Well, no, but
no. I'm saying when you have that big budget, sometimes all of those people there, in the room, kind of slow shit down.
Exactly,
where a smaller team could deliver something faster.
He said, how about Madden? Madden's don't talk about Madden. Madden's a whole different beast, bro. Madden's a whole different monster. But I think you understand where we're going with that.
Yeah, but Beast Mode clarified. He said when Xbox says diversified portfolio, they're not really talking about budget. They're talking about diversity of vision. Yes, and that's what we want.
Of course. See, but that's what they say to you. And that is true. They're not lying. They're talking about diversity and vision. That's what they're saying to you. But they're also saying to the stakeholders, diversity in budget and vision. Because then we can do so much more without having to spend $200 million per time. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about making that AAA game. It's not just about making a AA game. It's not just about, asking Compulsion or any of the other studios to do something different, or getting what do you call it? Transition, getting what do you call them? Scarlet, Crystal Dynamics to assist. It's all of them at the same time. All of that feeds the beast that is Game Pass, right? Ultimately giving you more and more and more and more content. But let's move on to that Crystal Dynamics conversation.
Okay.
So basically we heard that, and the way they announced it, I would say was unusual, okay? And I've heard people's opinions on it, and I want yours on it as well. And we'll touch on it quickly. We have about 30, 45 minutes left to the show. So they basically came out on Twitter and said, "Oh, exciting news! We are now working with Crystal Dynamics, the makers, the development studio that has done such work, awesome work, like reimagining, heroines like the Tomb Raider franchise, Lara Croft. We're asking them to come assist us in finishing off the Perfect Dark, and they're still in the early, quote unquote, early stages of development, but they're excited." When you first heard this news, what was your first thoughts on it?
So here's the thing. I feel like I'm so ingrained into this sort of Twitter gaming community conversation that when I first read news, my first instinct is what is going to be the reaction. Yes. Right?
I want your reaction. I don't want the Twitter's reaction.
Right.
Yours.
I'm coming to my reaction, but I knew that the concerned trolls were going to come out. I knew it instantly as soon as I heard that there, because I know how the narrative mind works. Yes, right. Yes. However,
and we'll get to that. We're going to have a final spaces conversation before the end of the show. So let's hold off on that real quick. But continue. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So, wait, can you put up pixels coming?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah. Truer words have not been typed, sir. Good job. Good job, sir.
But I looked at it and I said, oh, okay, that makes sense, right? That's cool.
Yeah.
One, because Crystal Dynamics is a AAA studio, right? Yep. You can't, and even if and I find it strange that people bring up like, oh, look at what they did with Avengers. Avengers didn't hit not because they couldn't put together a AAA experience. Yeah. It is 1,000% a AAA experience. It is the business model
because business that screwed it up.
Yeah. Right. Because they forced this service model that nobody cared about or asked for or wanted.
It's not a broken game. It's a perfectly running, beautiful looking, man, it is an awesome looking game. So, it's just made bad decisions. That's what it is.
So if you tell me that Crystal Dynamics is going to come on and help with the set pieces and things like that, 100% for it, right? And, apparently, like, they don't have a lot of developers there. They have supposed to be like 70 developers.
Yeah, they're trying to keep it slim, and like lean and mean.
If the game is supposed to be this big AAA thing, and I don't even want to talk about quadruple A because that's something from a job posting. It is not actually what they said. But if concern
very good, very good beast mode, very good statement for sure.
Right. So the thing is. Okay, it makes sense. It seems like a smart move. Daryl Gallagher used to run that studio. He knows their inner workings. He says this is a quick way to staff up on this project so that we can cut down the development cycle and get it out.
Oh, by the way, real quick, look. He hit me with this thing, and it looked like a bug that like my character was out of the. I'm sorry, there was a bug I discovered in the game. I'm sorry.
Hey, wait. Talk to the people for 1 second. Okay. I'm getting a phone call that I have to answer.
No worries. Okay, so basically, what we have to understand is when this whole situation came out, right? As Everborn has astutely pointed out, and I thought the same exact thing. My first instinct was, this is great. This is awesome news because they have experience. And again, see, look at that. It looks like he just made me disappear when in fact I didn't disappear. For a moment I was sitting there going, what the hell? Anyway, Yes, Gallagher is calling Everborn, telling them, "Hey man, don't spill the secrets. What are you doing?" Anyway, so the news came out. I was excited because to me that meant not only were they going to have a better vision because they have a studio that has done this before in the past, but knowing the size of that studio, knowing the size of the initiative, bringing Crystal Dynamics on means they get a huge influx of manpower. So this game will potentially not take the 6 years I'm expecting. It might get here sooner, right? Because now they've worked out. They obviously prototyped it. We've already heard that they're already playing the game in full, right? So it's all about fleshing it out, getting it much further. They need manpower, and we know that manpower is a thing that the initiative just doesn't have. Not because they don't even want it. First off, there are certain instances where they have manpower, but the manpower they have is very specialized, and they don't want like a huge AAA budget, lots of mouths to feed, so to speak, kind of thing. So asking a already existing AAA studio to come in, asking a huge AAA studio to come in to then aid them in getting their vision out, to me, that's the perfect idea. Wow, that's awesome, right? And I hope they continue to do that, because what that would do is that will make sure that in future reference, when they make a different game, their aesthetic will be different. The visual language will be different. It won't be, I love Sucker Punch. But Sucker Punch has a DNA to them, right? Until they recently made Ghost of Tsushima, which completely broke the rules, they were making their superhero simulator, if you will, right? Non-Marvel superhero games, and they were all exactly the same because it was the same art team, same group, different games, same exact visual language. This means that the initiative will not have the same visual language because their core team will always be there to make the ideas, but then they can let me just finish. They can then hire a AAA studio that they feel like will speak to whatever project they're on to come in and assist, and in doing so, really give you different things at different times. Everborn, please.
Yeah. So, but let me take this up a step further, right? Mm-hmm. Like so, and the thing to understand, right? The initiative. They were formed in 2018, right? Mm-hmm. They like literally, so it's not as though kind of development starts day one. They have to staff up, they have to get offices, they have to deal with all of this logistical things before you can kind of get to. So I hear people saying they've been in development for 3 years and they're still in early development. And even that in itself, when you look at things like God of Wars of the world that took 6 years.
Yeah.
3 years and still in early development sounds about right.
Horizon Zero Dawn. Look at when you first saw footage anywhere on the internet about that game. In like 2013 or something like that. Ridiculously long time ago. It took many years for that vision to go from prototype to the game you played. So people just need to stop that ridiculousness. Now
the thing is, And Slow-Mo, can you put up Slow-Mo's comment? Because I want to understand that.
I was just reading that, yeah.
So, they marketed the studios to potential devs. Well, hold on. No. He's not saying they marketed to us. If it's a job posting, then they did market it. They
marketed to studios. Yes, that's right. That's right.
Now, it was initially, I think, pitched in the job listings, basically like they were going to form like a Naughty Dog, right?
Sure, that's what they're looking for.
But see, Naughty Dog is very different from like Sony's XDev.
Well, but here's my question about that. About the Naughty Dog comparison. Why is that not an apt comparison? Do you know how many studios assisted in getting The Last of Us 2 to the
first line? No, I understand that. I completely understand that. That's not what I'm saying.
No, I'm not saying that's what you're saying. I'm saying folks are saying like what Slow-Mo is saying right here now, with that said, it can't be ignored. They marketed their studio as a potential devs as a quadruple A studio. They are not. What tells you they are not? By the fact that they're asking for help from other developers, that is part and parcel of the development experience. They've done that on numerous occasions. Even the Last of Us 2 heralded as, and by me, as a technical marvel. Like just the hair alone in that game. How many devs did that take? For how many years to get that done? It took many a damn studio to get that done. So if the fact that they're asking, and I'm not saying that's what Slow-Mo is saying, but if the fact that they're asking for other help from other studios, makes them not a AAA dev, then that means neither is Naughty Dog, because they do that all the time too. So what makes you say that? What based on the news that we have today makes you suggest that they are not a quadruple A studio or whatever? Even though, again, we realized that was just a marketing term to get more devs in the door. And why are you holding your damn pinky up and doing the Eddie Murphy thing? Come on, man.
I guess he told you, Slow-Mo.
No, I just want to know. Genuinely, I want to know, They want to be small and agile.
Ginger ale.
So he said because they want to be small and agile, right? Small, like you said, the A's are the budget, right? The A's are the budget, not necessarily manpower, right? They could be small, agile, and have a game that costs millions of dollars. They just know that they're going to have to outsource here, outsource there to get any of that done, and still keep their small 70-man team. Right? Like you've already established, the A's mean the budget of the game. Link me.
Oh, yes.
No, we're not linking you because
no,
this is a
don't
because
run
we're
from
at
this, man.
Hold on. It's an hour and 40 minutes. We're not gonna go 4 hours right now.
Slow-Mo, he's scared. He's scared.
I'm not scared. I want to have this conversation. You know what? Let's do spaces after this. Let's continue this conversation on spaces. I'm there with you. For sure. Let's do that, okay? And actually that'll lead to a great transition. We will continue that debate on spaces because I think it's time we have that spaces conversation. But anyway, let's table this conversation because I don't want it to go off the rails. Slow-Mo, for sure. We're gonna have a spaces today, and we're gonna have that conversation because I want to have that conversation. But before we go, I know some people.
Let's not go yet because I want to take you on a bus ride to Speculation Town.
Sure. Because we still have to talk about Mario, but continue. Yeah.
We will talk about Mario. I mean, it's a terrible casting, but
stop it.
That's it. But anyway, here is the thing, right? Now, another reason why I think this makes a lot of sense is that what else is Crystal Dynamics working on, right? You can't really fix Avengers right now because the business model is flawed. That is the issue,
yes.
Right?
You can't fix that from a technical perspective. It's technically working as it should. It's just not working well. It's not a good thing.
People aren't buying it. But if you play those as a campaign, as a single player experience that is not artificially designed to keep you playing, the experience is great. Unless you are going to change the business model of the game, there's no fixing it, right? Start charging for the story updates and get rid of all of the other nonsense.
Your thoughts on that? 100%. You are right. They need to just start charging for campaign expansions. 100%. You're right.
So now, the thing is, I think that has Square Enix really been happy with their last few projects from their Western studios?
Not so much. Is this where you put your tinfoil Everborn cap on and start going where I think you're going?
Look, we're in Speculation Town, man. So
he's about to get a little slanderous. Okay, let's go.
We know that Square already let go of IO Interactive.
Yeah, gave them back, sort of gave them back the Hitman IP. We're not really sure on that.
Right?
They did, but they didn't. I'm not sure about that, but yes.
We know their Eastern studios are basically printing money. And the dead weight and the projects that they're saying they didn't make enough money on are from the Western studios. So if there's nothing for Crystal Dynamics to work on, rather than shuttering the studio or keeping it open and worrying about people quitting, give them this thing to work with Microsoft on. That way, it's a good use of the talent's time, and maybe it is a trial for potentially to kind of slide Crystal Dynamics and maybe
potentially
even
rarefy them.
Yes, pull a rare where Microsoft scoops up Crystal Dynamics from Square.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if that would come with any IP, because why would Square let go of Tomb Raider? But then who would Square have make Tomb Raider?
Yeah, so it could come with a deal from
right. So this is the thing, but again, that's just me reading the tea leaves that I made up in my head. So don't take that with anything. I'm just saying, speculation time or whatever. But I think it is the right move, and I think Crystal Dynamics would be a good fit in the Xbox stable because again, it plugs that hole. They can make you. They can make you the sort of the Sony kind of game. They can make you that third person over the shoulder narrative driven thing.
Yeah, they can definitely do that, yes.
Or if they did come in, would they just be absorbed into the initiative and then that would become
that's where I disagree with you on that because I actually think that Crystal Dynamics name has a level of notoriety that they'd want to keep around. Kind of like how Bethesda's various names are still noteworthy and as such, just for the purpose of, hey, this is quality, Bethesda, they'll want to keep, hey, Crystal Dynamics, they're good. Because even though they have a black eye with Avengers, that is agreed, they are still well known as the ones that revived Tomb Raider, and they did a damn good job of it. So that still matters,
I could imagine this, right? Mm-hmm. What if you have, and I guess this role could also be played by the initiative, but I'm just saying, what if you had Crystal Dynamics act as the Sony ninjas for Microsoft?
Bro, I've been advocating for those ninjas for a long time.
All of these projects and saying, okay, you need a set piece, you need cinematics, here's the minimum
quality we need everything to be. If you're not there, we will work with you to bring you there, just like Sony does. Yep.
Right, but who's to say that that's not what Initiative was formed for, right? This could be their first project, and they stay small. So this time they basically kind of did the prep work, right? Maybe they build the vertical slices, right? They give the concept, and then they hand it off to one of the Xbox studios.
Yeah.
Right.
See, but honestly, I honestly think that this conversation specifically just points out what most of the conversations point out. This is a non-issue, It is now known that Last of Us 2 used so many devs. Yeah, true. They've been doing this stuff for ages. But the minute Xbox does it, all of a sudden
forget about the minute Xbox does anything, right? We already know that that's the
unfortunate thing that right? I want to point out.
But it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. But as a whole, with the concern gate for anything, I always feel like, okay, what does any of this matter? Like, a lot of people are concerned about Halo Infinite, right? Mm-hmm. Until you get the product, and then you can judge it based on what they release.
Until you get that product.
Why do people spend? I'm not saying you don't speak about it, but what I'm saying is, why so much concern and anger and vitriol until you see the finished product?
I honestly think you need to pay attention to who's giving you that anger and vitriol and concern. I honestly think that it is, and maybe this is my Spaces bias speaking, because I've been paying a lot of attention. I've been doing a lot of listening in Spaces. I know you've been doing a lot of talking. I've been doing a lot of listening. No, and I don't mean that. And I don't mean that in a detrimental way. I don't mean that. I really genuinely don't mean that in a kind of. I'm not slandering. You've been making your voice heard, and I think that's great. I've been doing a lot of listening to kind of understand what this is for, and honestly, I feel like it's a non-issue. It is a non-issue unless you are one of those who take these things and go to the battlefield, which is the
unless
Twitter
you
gaming
want
streets.
It to be an issue.
Yeah,
unless
you take as a bullet for your gaming gun, and that's where it is. And you know what? With that, let us transition to that conversation. Right. This is the last topic that I kind of wanted to touch on before we adjourn for today. Spaces has become really big around here. Right. Spaces is really monstrous. It's taken over the environment. And you have been out there and on front speaking on it, both in the various.
By the way, I'm looking at what you have on screen right now. That is crazy.
What's
just
crazy?
The sliding on top of the physics.
You see, that is a problem. It is a problem. It is an issue. Either make it not possible to climb, because as you can see, they have those, oh, you can only climb here because here's where the dashes are. Like, it's just, there are certain issues about it that I kind of didn't like. Anyway, so we want to have a conversation about spaces, but we want to be very specific about where we want to go, because we all know what's going on in spaces. We all know all the the back and forth, right? But recently, I was on the spaces, and shout out to Gerald Mack, who's out there. He hosted the spaces a few days ago.
Hashtag I'm 50.
Oh, he hosted space, and he handled himself quite good. It was a very interesting conversation. I got a chance to speak to a lot of the guys that we really that I usually just listen to. So shout out to Gerald, and if you do another one, bro, I appreciate the invite. I'll always be there for you. It was a great conversation. I think that we need to start different conversations on spaces, and I'll tell you why. Because while I was in this space, specifically on Gerald Mack's spaces, conversations were had, and we were talking about, certain people are on there only for trolling, and why is it that, some of them are supposed to be adults in the room, and blah, 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 blah. We've had this conversation. None of this is new, right? But what ended up becoming a thing that I learned was that folks that primarily game on Xbox are genuinely looking for a place that they can go and have conversation without it being this vitriolic, oh, these people, blah, 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 blah stuff. They want a genuine a haven, if you will, where they can go have great conversations about the platform that they like without feeling that it's like, a venting session or some bull like that. You know what I'm saying? So, excuse me. So basically, the long and the short of it is, based on everything I've been listening to and heard, you are now considered, you are the Neo of spaces, my good friend. You are,
I'm
you are the
black,
alpha.
I'm
the
black,
alpha and the omega. You are the black white knight. Exactly. They need a voice, and they are saying that your voice is that voice, right? Because they've seen you. Because they've seen you in the spaces. I don't know if I believe that. They've seen you as Jon Snow against the Horde by yourself with a sword in hand, while the Horde is coming at you, and they've seen you out there.
But you see, in the Battle of the Bastards, whole crew was right there behind him. It's not just about Jon Snow. Well, I know nothing.
So what I guess where this is coming, where this is leading to is, I'm putting this out as a call to the community. Okay, clearly we need more representation in that arena, right? We need more places where we can have conversations where so Optimus Code, wrong on all your points. Freaking, he's out there just like going crazy in the chat right now. So Optimus Code said something a while ago on a spaces that I thought was very, very interesting, and folks who follow the spaces, who are big into the spaces, should really reflect on that. He said a lot of the problem with the people who come to these spaces and are upset by what they hear is they don't know what they're not fully cognizant of what is happening in that space before they get there. They make assumptions. They think that they're there to have genuine conversation about platforms and about games they love and this and that. They're not aware that maybe the host that's there is there to troll. The host that's there is there to play the dozens with whoever's there to play it with them. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, you come in expecting one thing, you get another thing, and then you get upset that you came in and oh, why is it always vitriolic? Because that's what they want to do. So there needs to be more options there. There needs to be more spaces for, those who don't want to have that ridiculous convo, if you think that's ridiculous. Those who don't want to enjoy the console war back and forth. People who want to genuinely have real conversation. Oh, I just floored you. Please, Gerald, please explain how I floored you.
So the thing is this, right? Now I say this as somebody who's usually in somehow I'm just in those spaces where all the nonsense takes place.
Bro, you can't help yourself. Keep it moving.
You can't throw a rock without hitting one of the spaces. Now, the thing is, the thing to understand is if those things upset you, right? That's what they were designed to do.
Exactly.
Right? And I'm saying don't go into their house even if you are armed with facts and the truth and justice in the American way,
is dust
right?
That's dust and rainbows to the wrong
right?
to the wrong crowd.
They are in church and they are having a sermon. Right,
and you're the gnat that buzzing around their heads.
Right, and so you're either the atheist or the follower of a different religion, and you're walking into their church telling them they're praying to a false god.
And, yes.
And it is not going to go any way you think. But the point is, that's fine. They have their freedom of speech. They can have all of their ridiculous narratives. It doesn't really affect you unless you go in there and then you request to speak. You don't have to talk on their forum, right? So the answer is you do your own spaces.
So
right?
this is where I'm coming to, my friend. It's time we do our own spaces, and I'm asking the community, the folks that I've been in the chat from day one, the folks that always rock with us whenever we're on stream and they're in the chat and they're having great conversations with us. How do you feel about an extension of this show, an extension of On the Reel, whenever something pops up that we want to talk about? In addition to this show, we set up spaces where we can have these conversations, and you can know that the hosts that are there for a specific purpose. We're not there to troll anybody. We're there to have genuine conversations. If you want the trolling thing, you know where to find that. There's a lot of that. We might not be that, right? We'll have our fun. We'll do our slanderous conversations as we do, but we want, and this is a conversation we want to have with y'all. So you guys think, what do you guys think of it? Do you think it's a good idea? I was thinking about possibly, like, from a technical perspective, like creating an extension of this show to that show, to the spaces, and maybe
I haven't said this to you in private, so I'm saying it for the first time because I'm just thinking about it.
Yeah.
How about we just do after shows? Right?
There you go. And this
the
time will be
a perfect involved in the after show.
So as Slow-Mo has already challenged me to a debate, right, about the previous topic, that could be a prime subject for after shows, and that can help us keep these shows less than 3 hours and stuff, right? So we can do that and then keep it moving. We be with our families and possibly still get on spaces and have these conversations. What do you think? Like, I want to set up a format. Maybe be sporadic with it. Whenever something drops that we want to have conversations about, like this Mario casting thing, which is absolutely ridiculous, which I think deserves some
Okay,
energy.
So somebody needs to tell me about the damage controlling for Nintendo that went on. There was a Spaces. I wasn't in that.
I wasn't part of that one as well. And Slow-Mo, please, like I said, we're gonna have a Spaces after this. I heard
Nintendo and I just kept walking. I was like, no, there's nothing I can contribute to this conversation.
Yeah. So yes, and as Pixel points out so aptly, this is the Gaming Circle podcast, and wherever we go, we should keep that same energy. We do not want to turn our spaces into the pointless circle jerk podcast. we're gonna try and bring some decorum to the proceedings. We're gonna try and have some proper conversation rather than what we've seen. And that's why I've been on spaces listening a lot. I'm trying to figure out how to not do that because it turns into a big thing.
Well, here's the thing, and I'm going to say something that's a little bit controversial.
Please.
Democracies don't work. Every time you let, I see you tried to hedge right there. Right. But no. When you said in certain instances,
in certain instances. Look. But what was it? Rome, where the root of democracy. When there are enemies at the gate, what do? Screw this democracy. Hey, Caesar, you are now king. Save us.
Yeah, what they do to Caesar after that, though. But anyway, beware of the Ides of March. That's all I'm going to say. That's a different
conversation.
But I think that in the spaces, you have to rule it judiciously. Mm-hmm. And really, you can only let one community member speak at a time. That's the only way to ensure that
I would
anytime you let 4, 5, and 8 people have the speaker role, it turns crazy.
Into a problem. Yeah, I would say I would push you on it and say, and you're right, 4, 5, you're right. I would say no more than 2. No more than 2 at a time, and then we cycle. No more than 2. Because the back and forth debate, the back and forth conversation can be useful when it's 2 people, right? And if there's more people that need to be jumping in, maybe we remove one and add another one. So we still keep the conversation coherent, you know?
Well, what I was thinking is we could run them sort of like in the political debate format, right? And I don't mean a circle jerk, but what I mean is one person speaks at a time. There's no interruptions because we control it with the mute. You have 2 minutes to speak on this topic, right? Now, someone who sees it differently, raise your hand if you see that differently. You give them 2 minutes to respond. And then if you call someone's name, then they can come in and respond to that. But you're still only allowing one person to speak at a time. But it's sort of a debate.
The thing that I disagree with that on is we have seen that the raising of hands does not work, because then you put everybody in the speaker role and just mute them and expect them to raise their hands in order to speak. People don't all follow those rules. Most
no, but that's what I'm saying. You can't. I'm saying you don't. You're only going to let in 2 at a time, but they get 2 minutes to speak.
Yeah,
each, and everyone else is on mute.
Gerald Spaces was very cool.
Well, that's because you had people on there that respected each other.
Exactly.
And that's another problem with these spaces.
Yes.
A lot of people have the anonymity of being behind this digital wall, and they can talk to people.
But we're starting to know their handles, though, on both sides. We're starting to know the troublemakers, you know, have basically like outed themselves at this point. So we know what to expect when we see certain names. You know what I mean? So we're gonna have to do a lot of very strong moderation during this stuff. But I honestly think and structure, yes, right.
Yeah, and the moderator can mute everyone. That's the thing.
Everybody. That's right.
Right.
Yeah. And when it goes, the hands strong on that.
When it goes left, it's because the moderator didn't do what they were supposed to do in that regard. Well, again, to you know whose point, maybe that's what they wanted.
Beast. Thank you, Beast Mode. We appreciate you joining. If you can, we'll be hosting chats. We'll be possibly doing some spaces later. You're always welcome to join. You're always welcome to have conversations with us. It's always great to have you in the chat. Thank you so much for coming. See you later, man. Ciao. So, all right. So I guess this is all to say, and we're rounding around the end of the episode. This is all to say that we will start doing this ourselves, because as we heard on those spaces, there are people who think, and as Code said, and I really think that was a very good point, you know, they're there for a certain purpose. It may not be the reason why you're there. So you need to understand that and move on instead of letting it like anger you. They're there to have fun. They're there to do the console war stuff. And if you're there for that purpose, have at it, have fun, right? I tend to be not one who does that, because I like debating facts, and sometimes the whole console war thing, facts are the last thing that's on the table, right? So that becomes more of how you can spin rather than the actual content that we're discussing, and that's usually not my bag. So you'll catch me listening, but you rarely catch me speaking.
Also, I do think that you know, once the hosts have established themselves as to what type of ship they run, the people do not come in there with the nonsense. Shout out
to Luca, indeed.
But if you've established that this is the barbershop, so to speak,
that's right.
Then that's what you're gonna get. So that's another thing to take into account, because people come there and like, oh, I can talk crazy here because it's XYZ's spaces. So as long as you keep it classy as the host, then the
classiness will continue to prevail in the environment. I completely agree.
Right, but what Code is talking about is true, and this is not about silencing any ideas, but it is about you will be silenced. No. You will be silenced if you get disrespectful. Simple and plain.
True.
That is the rule.
Yep.
You start cursing at people. You start getting crazy, interrupting people. You're done, and it's not gonna. And people will learn that, and they will understand they can't do that there. And that's really the rule. And I want to lay that out up front, that I will be judicious. With the mute button.
With the mute, with the kicking you out.
Anybody can get it. It's not like if you come here and like, well, this is a PlayStation guy, so he's gonna get it before an Xbox guy.
What was that Scarface with Nas? You wet who I want wet it. I wet who you want wet it. Anybody can get it. I remember that track. That right. Referenced me the minute you said that.
So that's the thing. Like, once we establish that the rule of the day is respect for your fellow human.
Yep.
Then I think we can all get along, and I don't mind leaving a couple of bodies in the middle of the projects to prove how serious I am.
Just to prove the point. That's right. Like the Chinese folk will hang you from the rafters just to show that these are the ones that caused the crash. Make sure that doesn't happen anymore. You'll be made examples of if need be. You know.
Don't challenge me, Slow-Mo.
But no. So we will end this episode. And we will say that this is the new thing we're going to start, right? We've seen that Spaces is very useful. There's a good use of conversation with the community. We want to start that as well. We'll be a bit sporadic with it, but we'll also try and do the after show type of effect, which we will start that in about an hour or so or whatever. Got to go, clean the vocal cords. I'm still at about 75%.
Clean the vocal cords.
I gotta get a drink.
Sounds crazy. I'm just gonna throw a pause in there on your behalf
for no reason. I gotta get a drink anyway. So we will start those spaces, and we're gonna really be like trying to communicate more and more with the community. I know that Mr. Everborn Saga can't help himself but to join these spaces. So if he's gonna join them, then we might as well just create them so that the atmosphere is more controlled and to our liking and to our community's liking. So if you're a person,
the quorum, so to speak.
Right. That's right. And I've heard this on the spaces on Gerald's spaces. If you're one who leans towards Xbox, you want to have more just normal conversation. It doesn't have to be about this. It have to be about that. We criticize everybody equally. As I said earlier in this episode, we are gamers, and we will speak about games in their various many forms, and it won't necessarily have to be all about the circle jerk of console war. So if you're interested, please follow us on Twitter. This man is the Everborn Saga. I am TKO.
Not the Everborn Saga. It's just Everborn Saga.
Everborn Saga. Forgive me. And when we go live, you will see that we're gonna start now being more after show kind of thing, and then you'll start seeing some more sporadic stuff from us.
Yeah, but I don't want to give people the wrong idea. I may not be able to start a Spaces 1 hour from now because that Spaces will last a long time. Yes. But what we'll figure out the scheduling.
We'll work the logistics. But expect that from us because it is very much a thing that we've heard that people are looking for, and I think my time listening has come to an end. I think it's time I start getting in there as well, and I think you and I can provide a service that folks have been asking for. I think we can do that, and we should try to do that. Okay, so. Until next week, where can people find you, Everborn Saga? What do you got going on? Tell us about the comic. Tell us about Comic-Con. What's going on, man?
Yeah, man. Comic-Con, October 7th through the 10th. I got everything all set up. I got my 6-foot table. We got about 1,500 books to sell. We got posters. We got some of this. This is gonna be launched at the Comic-Con show, so you can come here and get one of these. We're gonna have quite a few of those.
I can't come to New York Comic-Con. Can I get one of those?
We'll put it on the website.
Good.
No, but yeah, it's gonna be Everborn's first time as a vendor at a comic convention, and I may be doing a panel with Black Sands. I haven't confirmed that yet, but we shall see. So. That'll be cool too to do my first panel at a Comic-Con. So
nice.
And Everborn Saga on YouTube where we do On the Real. We skipped it this week, partly because of me, partly because of Mr. K. Asante still healing. But it was good to get kind of a week off of podcasting. But we're back now. We'll be back next Thursday where I do want to discuss that lawsuit with the families of Steve Ditko and Stan Lee and all those guys.
All of the superhero creators that you know and love. They're all trying.
Right.
Their families are all in lawsuits now.
And it will surprise you to know that in this instance, as a creator of comics,
he stands with the corporation.
I may, in this instance, stand with Disney, and we'll talk about that on Thursday. But
we're talking about the Everborn wallet at this point, so
exactly,
it's a different situation.
Exactly. Listen, man, I'm taking all the risk. But anyway, I don't want to derail this outro with that. But everbornsaga.com, you can get all the books, and this is something that we will be launching after Comic-Con. This is Ultimate Edition Book 2, which has chapters 3 and 4 of Prince of Arcadia. It is 122 pages with a lot of bonus art, that you can't get in buying the issue standalone. So this is done, and we also completely remastered chapter 3 for this. So it's all recolored. It looks really good. This will be available right at Comic-Con, and then it'll be available at everbornsaga.com after that show. But you can get chapters 3 and 4 right now. We just got in some new prints, so exciting times in the world of Everborn.
Awesome. Again, I feel real bad that I will not be able to make it. I was really thinking about it too, but being that the world is where it is, the situations are the way they are, it is better to err on the side of caution. But next year, I will definitely be in the spot. I'm looking forward to all the various, cons and stuff where we can actually meet in person and have a drink and have a conversation.
We definitely got to go to E3 whenever it comes back.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. I'm so ready for that. Like I'm ready to like meet people and really get into it. I'm looking forward.
Speaking of meeting people, I think I'm gonna rent a theater again for Venom on October 1st when it comes up.
Okay.
Considering it.
Okay, interesting, very cool. And you were right. Now that I have a good contingency of PTGers in Florida, that might be an option, and we might look into tapping into it as well.
Look at you.
It should be interesting. Anyway, so as for me, you can find me, of course, TKO Asante on Twitter, on Xbox, on PlayStation, with and we'll talk a bit more about that probably in Spaces and whatnot with the advent the new Halo. The Halo flight going on. You'll see me online a lot. You want a game? Please send me a message. I need to get with Scrub Nurse. He wanted a game a couple days ago, so I need to get with him and see if we can reconnect and do some rounds there. I want to connect with as many people as you want. Please hunt me down on Xbox. We'll be playing. It's so much fun. We're gonna get into it. We will continue. As I said, we're also going to focus on Spaces and get all that and get more into that as well. I will say before we go, it's been so much fun. I'm excited to jump back in. It's been too long. I feel like I missed a week. We missed multiple shows, so I feel like we missed a lot more than that. But it's only been a week. But we will be back again. We will communicate. We will have conversations. We appreciate all the folks that are in the chat, people that came and visited us. Slow-mo backslap, the homie Slow-mo always representing. Pixelbit G, thank you. Beast Mode was in here. Gerald Mack was in here. There was a lot of folks. Erodimus was in here. A lot of folks that are in here that come here on a weekly basis, and we appreciate you. Before we go, I will say, moving forward, we're trying to keep communicating with our community, and we're going to continue to do that. The piece of advice that I'd give you is, if you're not liking the spaces you're finding yourself, maybe try some different spaces,
or start your own, the change you would like to see in the world.
That's right. Definitely be that change you want to see in the world. And until next week, I will leave you with a saying that I've come to like a lot, which is it's time to play your games and not your Twitter followers. Don't go out there and trolling and going crazy. Play your games. Talk with the Twitter followers. Don't play your Twitter followers, because if you're one of those guys, chances are you will probably be met with a lot of trolling.
Hold on.
Oh, okay. Oh, before we go though,
don't worry. He paused himself. He saved himself. Also, just on that note, let me bring it back to the realm of sanity. Be not that which you despise. There's a quote for you. Indeed. And one more quote. Speak only if it improves upon the silence.
Sometimes silence is good enough.
In other words, shut your ass up. But anyway.
Well, we'll catch you online. We'll catch you on them spaces. If you're not able to make it, we'll catch you on Thursday. We're on the reel. We'll be back. We'll be back at it, having those slanderous conversations, those fun conversations that we love regarding movies and TV. Please, please, please follow, subscribe to the Everborn Saga YouTube channel. Follow Everborn Saga on Twitter. Follow my channel, K Asante. Follow me on YouTube. The channel has been growing exponentially. We really appreciate that. If you have thoughts, if you have ideas, don't hesitate to put them in the comment section. Like, subscribe, like the channel, because for some reason, whenever the more likes we get, the more people seem to be finding it. So I appreciate those who have been continuing to like it. And until next week, and until you hear us on them spaces, have a good rest of the week, everybody. Talk to you later.